Now let's begin with our top story this evening. In Coimbatore, the hunt for rapists turned violent as police opened fire at the three men accused of abducting and then sexually assaulting a 19-year-old student very close to the Coimbatore airport. Let's first get you a detailed report of exactly what happened and why this crime is extremely worrying. These three men were history sheeters out on bail after they were accused in a murder case previously.
A chilling twist in the Coimbatore gang rape case. What began as a manhunt ended in gunfire and arrests. In a major development, three men accused of gang raping a college student near the Coimbatore airport were shot and arrested after they allegedly attacked an officer while attempting to flee. On Monday, when cornered near a temple, the three accused reportedly attacked the officers with sickles, injuring a head constable. The police say in turn they opened fire and hit the men in their legs. All three were rushed to the Coimbatore Government Hospital along with the injured officer. Investigators said the accused, originally from Shivagangai district, were employed at a local construction site and had a string of criminal cases against, including murder and theft. Before committing the crime, the men had consumed alcohol, stolen a two-wheeler, and were armed with a sickle. Coimbatore police said over 300 CCTV cameras were scanned to trace the culprits.
சஸ்பெக்ட்ஸை நேரோவின் பண்ணாங்க. அப்படி நேரோவின் பண்ண சஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ் வந்து துடியலூர் அருகில் உள்ள வெள்ளக்கிணறு என்ற ஏரியாவில் பதுங்கி இருக்கிறதா ஒரு ஐஓக்கு தகவல் வந்து அவங்கள செக்யூர் பண்ணும்போது அவங்க வெப்பன் யூஸ் பண்ணி அங்கே வந்த காவலர் ஒருவரை வந்து தாக்கியதால்.
With the investigation, the political storm also continues. AIADMK leaders hit the streets, distributing pepper sprays to women, calling it a wake-up call for safety in Coimbatore. With Pramod Madhav in Chennai, Bureau Report, India Today.
So the three accused have been nabbed in a matter of 24 hours. After a brief encounter that broke out, the three are now in custody. I want to bring in on this broadcast now Chinmayi Sripada, very popular singer and a Chennaiite, importantly, someone who's lived in Tamil Nadu all of her life almost. Chinmayi, thank you for joining us. You know, this incident, and we've been reporting on it for the last 24 hours, it sent shivers down my spine that something like this could happen in a city like Coimbatore that's actually deemed one of the safest, if you ask me, in Tamil Nadu.
I most definitely agree. I have lived most of my life here in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, and Coimbatore is also a place like I call a second home. And I find this deeply disturbing and shocking that it has happened in a place like Tamil Nadu, which is known historically to be a safe place. However, I think in recent times, one of my biggest things that I have been noticing, especially in this particular case, and how to chatter on social media is happening right now, is there is a lot of victim blaming. There are a lot of men asking, what was she wearing? What was she doing? Why was she alone? If she was out with a friend, no matter how late and at what time, it is also the one thing that we need to keep repeating is that in a case of sexual assault and sexual abuse, it is the fault of the perpetrator and not that of the victim. And it is insanely horrendous that in 2025 we have to continue to be having these conversations and repeating this from our side, to say that this is, shift the blame, shift the questions to where it should be, and then making this about political points between one party versus the other, because in general across the country the safety of women and children has always been at stake, especially in Tamil Nadu after the murder of this girl that happened in Chennai city in Nungambakam, where cameras were supposed to have been installed in all of these train stations and bus stations and things like that. I don't know how many stations and MRTS stations have functional working CCTV cameras. And one of the biggest malaise that we see in public transport and in areas of public transport like bus stands and train stations is men having episodes of exhibitionism, of men flashing. There are so many women who have reported this, and it is a good thing. One good thing that I would say is that people are reporting these crimes. At least that's the only good thing that I see from this horror.
You know, you're right that it should naturally come to us to only blame the accused. But even in this case, Chinmayi, we saw a lot of victim shaming. Why was she out late in the night? Why was she alone with a male friend? Why were they in a parked vehicle behind the airport? It's honestly none of our business. You know, a crime shouldn't happen, and if it happens, the finger should be pointed only one direction at the accused. It's unfortunate that we see any kind of narrative besides that being spread at all on social media. Maybe that really is the problem, that mindset that allows people to go ahead and commit such crimes and think, you know, it's okay. That she asked
Absolutely.
for it.
I don't think much has changed since the Nirbhaya case to now.
Chinmay, I want to ask you, as someone, you know, who's lived in Chennai for so many years, there's a lot of chatter that, you know, Chennai, Tamil Nadu has become a lot more unsafe for women. What do you think?
I think overall across the country, we are seeing a rise in cases, but I would also like to believe that perhaps not only see, we have been flagging this sort of a change in behavior for the past a decade and a half, that there is a rise in violence against women and children and people from underprivileged sections of society. And the violence is verbal. What is verbal on social media? People are going out on a limb and actually writing all of this on social media under their own names. This will have to spill out on the streets. And we have been seeing that as a trend in the past. I think ever since the Nirbhaya case itself, even then, the victim was blamed. What was she wearing? Why was she out at night? Why was she alone with a friend? The questions have not changed in 15 years or 20 years or how many give and take in India, north to south. So this entire thing has one state become more unsafe, or has this place become more unsafe? I would say that it has become unsafe over the past several years, also with the rise in AI generated pornographic content, morphed content that is becoming really, really horrendous, with a lot of all of these really horrendous ideas of pornography that people are creating, especially with regard to brutalization, that is gaining a lot of followership on social media. And this is a trend that people are not watching, the authorities are not watching. And when we flag it, we are called whiners, we are called we have the victim card, right? As if these are these cards that we can just use at any ATM machine and withdraw money.
Terrible.
So this is the sort of a thing that we see as chatter, and this is horrible, because more and more the survivors and victims of such violent sexual crimes are becoming younger, and the perpetrators are also becoming younger across the country. If you notice, the number of minor boys under the age of 15 who are getting arrested for brutal gang rapes is becoming more. And now I am worried, because the number of cases of gang rape are becoming more. We don't know how many actual rapes are going under the radar, because it's not sensational enough, or how many adult women are actually. There was a case a few months ago in Tamil Nadu where we had to there was this survivor of gang rape who was shunted from one police station to another to just lodge a complaint. And this became a problem. She was running a pillar to post for justice. These cases also need follow-ups, and we need to
Very true.
sensitize the fact that a lot of this behavior, both online and offline, is not acceptable. ICCs and POCSOs should happen, gender sensitization, and what is the right way of talking from there. Verbal violence to physical violence is a very, very short distance. We need to cut all of that, and education, I think, is very important.
Awareness, education, and I think just a basic change in mindset, which unfortunately hasn't happened despite so many years going on after the Nirbhaya case. We're seeing what many are referring to as a rerun of something similar that's happened in a city that's very often deemed one of the safest in the country. And so that itself should ring alarm bells. Thanks very much, Chinmayi, for joining us. We appreciate your time, especially as someone who's also been brave enough to speak out, you know, against these kind of crimes, this kind of violence, and so giving strength to so many more women out there also to speak up. We should highlight here that the Tamil Nadu police has done a great job in ensuring that they've identified, nabbed the accused. But at the same time, we must also ensure that in every single case that comes to the fore like this, we see a similar crackdown and therefore a deterrent, and people think twice before committing these kind of crimes. Let's cut across to a news break coming in. And imagine this, DMK leader Ponmudi, who had made those extremely crass sexist remarks against women, has been reinstated in the DMK as the Deputy General Secretary of the party. He was sacked from that very post because of the comments that he'd made. And now, after time has passed by, the DMK has brought him back in the very same position that he held earlier. So essentially, he was given some time off because of the outrage, and the DMK has brought him right back to the post that he enjoyed previously. I want you to listen in to exactly what this man had said, what this DMK leader had said that had led to outrage, that had led to anger, and ultimately action, temporary at that.
போகும்போது அங்கே அந்த அம்மா கேட்குது, நீ பார்த்து நீங்கள் சைவமா வைணவமா அப்படின்னு கேட்குது. அவனுக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியல. அவன் பணம் எவ்வளோ 5 கொடு 10 கொடுன்னு கேட்டான்னா ரைட்டு. என்னடா இங்கே வந்திருக்கிறோம் நாம ஒரு விலை மாது வீட்டுக்கு, நம்மளை வந்து சைவமா வைணவமான்னு கேட்குறாங்க அப்படின்னு கேட்டான். அந்த அம்மா சொல்லிச்சான், என்னம்மா ஒன்றும் புரியலையே அப்படின்ட்டான். ஒன்றும் இல்லை, சைவம்னா இப்படி வைணவம்னா இப்படின்னுச்சான். ஒன்றும் புரியல. சைவம்னா இப்படி, வைணவம்னா இப்படி. ஒன்றும் புரியல. என்னவா சொல்கிற, இதுன்னா அது தெய்வம் விபூதி இது தானே, அதில் என்ன இருக்குது அப்படின்னா, இல்லை சைவம்னா படுத்துக்கிறது, வைணவம்னா நின்னுங்கிறது.
Absolutely crass comments that were made. Pramod Madhav is joining us with more details on this. Pramod, the right step, outrage action was taken by the DMK earlier. Months later, they seem to have thought everyone's forgotten. We can bring back Ponmudi back into the power position that he holds in the DMK. Has there been any statement from the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam justifying this?
Well, on one side, DMK is actually very busy over the SIR, but today it was a statement that was released that 2 Deputy General Secretaries have been once again brought into the party. One is MP Swaminathan and the other is Ponmudi. In fact, Ponmudi was already a Deputy General Secretary of the party, and just like we saw those videos, there were like multiple occasions he was, involved in such kind of inappropriate comments and such. And the last one about Shaivam and Vainavam, which completely went viral, and DMK was forced to take action. And that is the reason he was removed from the Deputy General Secretary party. But it looks like ahead of the election, considering Ponmudi being a senior leader, DMK has reinstated it, and that is actually just like you are, like many people are raising questions about this, but still DMK has not provided any explanation on this matter, Akshita.
All right. Thanks, Pramod, for joining us with those details. Terrible, really, that the DMK has brought back this man back into the same position that he was in earlier. All right, moving on. The Pan-India SIR 2.0 has kicked off today across 12 states and 3 union territories, including in the poll-bound states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The DMK has moved the Supreme Court already, challenging the EC's voter list revision in Kerala. While the process has begun, much like the DMK, the left government in Kerala too has opposed the exercise.
The second phase of the nationwide voter list revision has kicked off across 12 states and 3 union territories. From South India, Kerala and Tamil Nadu have officially begun the Special Intensive Revision 2.0.
We are reporting from SIT College, just giving you a glimpse of how the training process is really happening. In fact, there is also a politics that has broken out pertaining to the SIR process, with Tamil Nadu's government, DMK, calling this as a murder of democracy.
In Tamil Nadu, with elections approaching next year, the drive has sparked political pushback. The DMK has moved the Supreme Court, challenging the Election Commission's voter list revision. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin chaired a meeting attended by 46 out of the 64 invited parties. The meeting passed a resolution urging the Election Commission to halt the SIR.
We are not against SIR, but what had happened at Bihar has, we see that it is anti-people, anti-democratic.
The AIADMK, the principal opposition party, backed the SIR.
In Raipuram, taking totally 181 booths, taking 10 booths, the total votes, death and no address and double entry, and permanently they are not residing here. That voters are 1,700. So that should be deleted.
In Kerala, the voter list revision has begun, with booth-level officers visiting houses.
We are currently in Thiruvananthapuram, the state capital, where booth-level officers are visiting every household and collecting the primary information regarding voters. The primary task is to distribute this enumeration form and get this filled by the residents here. So the primary basic voter information will be collected during this phase.
BLOs are visiting the houses. The voters have to just sign the enumeration form. One of the activities we are insisting on the voters to fill is the 2002 progeny mapping. As on 2002, where were the electors and if their names were there in the electoral roll.
During the enumeration process that will last 1 month, booth-level officers will verify electors' details and upload information on Election Commission website. After that, the electors who are left out will get a chance to file their claims and objections. With Anaga Keshav and Shibi Molkeji, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.